Hi, my name is Julie. I am the teen librarian at the Central Branch Library, and today I'm going to teach you how to paper quill. And I'm going to teach you how to paper quill specifically these little fish, and you can make a little background and make a cute little aquarium for them to swim in. So if you pick up your packet at the library, you're going to have your supplies in it. You're going to have a couple of different colored strips. You're going to have a couple of little paper eyes, toothpicks, and you'll have a little thing here of Elmer's glue. So when we do this, I'm going to give you a little piece of advice. One of the toothpicks is for the glue. Leave that one in the glue so you don't mess it up, because you don't want to be gluing your paper quilling paper to your toothpicks. So you'll also have a set of instructions, and you'll have a piece of green and blue piece of paper that you can make a background aquarium for your little fish. And this is what we're going to make. You'll also need to provide a pair of scissors. It's not completely necessary, but it makes for a cleaner cut. So the first step, we're going to make the body of the fish. So to make this body, we're going to use two strips. So you choose your colors for the body. I'm going to use the darker purple, so I'm going to put the lighter purple aside. And it takes two, and we got to glue them together. So grab your glue, grab a toothpick. You really don't need a whole lot of glue, so just a little bit on the end of your toothpick, and put it on the end of one of your strips. And put the other end of the other strip on top. Line them up real good, and you're going to hold them there for a moment while that glue dries. So once your glue has dried, you're going to have one big long strip. Take one of your toothpicks. They can be handy for this. It may be helpful where you may be good at doing this with just your hands. I'm going to roll it around the tip and just start to roll the paper. So we're basically rolling the paper on itself. And sometimes it helps just to get that first start and pull the toothpick out, and you can go from there. Or you can just keep rolling around the toothpick. And I'm going to push it up towards the bigger end to make it a little tighter. And sometimes you can just roll the toothpick from there. You do want it to be on top of each other. So if it starts kind of going to the side, you need to straighten it out a little bit. All right, so I have mine started. I can hold it like this as well and roll. But you want a nice tight roll. So at this point, if you're not happy with it, you can undo it and restart it. Once you start pinching the corners of it, it makes it difficult to re-roll it. So I'm going to do that right here just to show you how to do that. You can pull it, there you go, and you can start over if you're not happy with that tight little center of it. It doesn't have to be super, super tight, that's okay. Then I'm going to put it like this so the edges line up every now and then. So however you need to roll it, just don't crush that little center. So it is a bit delicate. All right, so once you're done rolling it, you should have a nice little tight roll like that. I'm going to place it down, and I'm going to let it unravel. So I want my body about this size, because otherwise it makes the tail fins and the top fins hard to do because they're so small. I'm going to kind of help this along and just very gently loosen this up. So once you have your little spiral of paper here loosened up to where you want it, I actually want mine a little looser, so I'm going to glue it that way. Sometimes you can let it sit to let it kind of loosen up, because you can always re-roll it if you haven't glued it or pinched it. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a little bit of glue on your toothpick again, and you're going to glue the very end. You're going to pick it up, and be gentle when you pick it up. That little end right there. Just a little drop of glue. Loosen it up a bit, and I'm going to have to hold it in place for a moment until the glue dries. Once you have your spiral and it's glued and it's dried, we're going to make the body by pinching both ends. So just start with one, just kind of hold it with the other, and then pinch the other. You're going to let it loosen up as need be. And you're going to put your little fish body aside. Okay, once you have the body, for the next step, we're going to make the fins. So the top fin and the bottom fin, and then the tail fins. So for each of them, they're going to be made with the same length of paper. So we're going to fold them in half, because it's a half a strip here. So bring your two ends together. And then grab your scissors and just snip. And put this one aside. So we're going to basically do the same thing as we did for the body. We're going to roll this strip of paper, and we're not going to release it quite as much as we did the body, because we want these two kind of small, so we're going to keep those tight. These will release a little more. The trick is, though, to keep the top fin and the bottom fin roughly the same size, and the two tail fins about roughly the same size too. So you may have to kind of re-roll them or release them or tighten them up to get them there. Once you have it rolled nice and tight, we're going to release it a little bit, see how far it goes. And actually, while it's doing that, we want them kind of the same size. So I'm going to roll them both before I pinch them. Let those release a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and roll the top and bottom fin as well. And again, we're going to split the strip of paper in half. So once you have them roughly about the same size, and you may have to kind of roll them in the opposite direction, put the outside or the inside on the outside, grab a little dab of glue, and you're going to glue down the little end piece. So we're going to glue these two, and then we're going to pinch them. So the glue does dry clear, so don't worry if you put a little too much, but you don't want too much that it doesn't allow your paper to just have that nice inner swirl. All right, so to make these two tail fins, you're going to do it just like you did the body. You're going to pinch one side and then pinch the other. Pinch one side and then pinch the other. So for the top and bottom fin, we just need to pinch one side. And it doesn't matter which side. Just give a little pinch. Nope. The other way. So once you have your fish how you like it, you're going to use a little more glue. And you're just going to glue it together. So you're not gluing it down to the surface. You're gluing the fins to the fish. And just use a little bit, that way you can let it sit on your surface and it doesn't glue down to your surface. So for the tail fin, you're gonna have to let this sit and dry quite a bit without moving it. I'm putting it on that edge. As much on that edge as I can. Then you can grab your little eye. And again, just a little glue, but it's got to sit on top. There we go. So you're gonna let them dry for a bit. So for my aquarium, well, first off, I gave you a full sheet of blue, but if you prefer to do a half sheet, and I'm gonna do a half sheet, go ahead, grab it, cut it in half, and to make it a little sturdier so it'll hold our fish, because they're very delicate, they need a little sturdy surface behind them, I gave you a piece of cardstock. So we're going to take a little more glue with the cardstock and we're going to glue down a thin layer. So it's not perfect, but we'll trim it. You can determine how you want to set up your little aquarium, put your plant life in, your treasure chest, whatever you'd like. And then you're going to glue it down. All right, once you have your plant life on and a little treasure chest, whatever you want at the bottom, draw a little cave, you get to put your little fish. So I'm going to do just this one. So we're going to use a toothpick with the glue. And just be gentle because it is fragile. It will dry clear, but don't do too much because we don't want it seeping all the way through to the surface on the front side. Your fish. Plant them. And I see that there is a little glue in there, a little glob. There we go. If you'd like, you could use a hole punch and put little bubbles coming out, or you could draw little bubbles with a pen. And there you have it, your little fish aquarium.